This video is a poor attempt of me trying to make a case that should be rated R, PG-13. This murder was a cold case that was finally solved due to modern technology. It is a prime example of forensics in action. The specifics. The victim: Krystal Lynn Beslanowitch. Murder weapon: a bloody rock. Suspect? Well, let's find out. What happened? On a chilly December morning in 1995, Deputy Todd Bonner was sent to the murder scene of a 17-year-old girl named Krystal, whose body was found on the bank of the Provo River in Utah. The dead teenager was found nude and face down on the rocks with her skull smashed in. Clearly, this killer was a monster. A nearby bloody rock was declared the murder weapon, which the murderer bludgeoned her to death with. However, even with the murder weapon and DNA evidence, the investigation led to a dead end. 1990s technology did not provide the ability to confirm the suspect. Although Todd Bonner was wary of her older boyfriend and her pimp, the evidence wasn't enough to confirm it. And so, the case turned cold and went unsolved. Until it was. 18 years later, new technology arrived and the murderer was found and tried. Remember the bloody rock? Well, even after 18 years, the DNA on the opposite side of the rock from the bloodstains where the murderer likely held it was maintained enough to retrieve a sample. Why is this important? Because this was used to convict the killer. By using a very large and impressive machine named the MVAC, forensic scientists were able to obtain 21 nanograms of genetic material. Only 0.5 nanograms are needed for a full profile. Hold on, what's a nanogram, you ask? Well, 1 nanogram is 0.0000001 100,000th of a milligram, aka a very, 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 very small amount. Back to the case. The DNA evidence from the rock led to prime suspect, Joseph Michael. I'm sorry, but he kinda looks funny. I mean, look at him. No? Just me? Okay. But the prime suspect was Joseph Michael Simpson. And get this, he was already jailed in 1987 for a different murder. This man, after 8 months of being free from jail for a previous murder, thought it was a good idea to murder again. Well, at least we know he's not very smart. All the same, the jury that convicted him guilty was not privy to this information and was only informed after the fact. However, the prosecution did a great job of incriminating the lowlife by providing multiple DNA samples, much more effectively than the defense, who provided no samples. Actually, the defense couldn't even rebut the evidence because every time I tried searching for the rebuttal, nothing came up. Please don't take away points. But how did the prosecution know it was Joseph's DNA, not some randos? After all, 18 years of decay could have contaminated the sample. However, Todd Bonner and his associates thought ahead and went on a stakeout without Joseph's knowledge and retrieved a cigarette butt from the man had left on the sidewalk. Thus, with new DNA data to put up against the DNA found on the evidence, the prosecution had a more solid argument. There was also DNA evidence that the murderer and the victim engaged in certain activities before she was murdered. The article's wording made it seem consensual, but you can't really ask the corpse if she consented, so we're just gonna assume otherwise. But then again, this girl was 17, but apparently she worked for a very adult lady job that isn't very proper, and I'm gonna assume that you know what I mean. But all that DNA evidence was plenty incriminating enough, so Joseph was sent to life in prison without chance for parole. And I desperately searched for any record of the trial itself, but I couldn't find anything. So let's just assume the defense couldn't rebut the undisputable DNA evidence that was obtained after 18 years of no consequence. I mean, the guy did have a pretty bad criminal record, but he was in Florida with his mom, so he must have been taken off guard. But yeah, he's in jail now. Hold on. I thought this started in Utah. Let's run through it again. One late evening in 1995, Krystal and Beslanowitch decided to tell her boyfriend that she was going to head to the convenience store, but on her way there, a man flashed her some drugs and asked her if she wanted to join him in his vehicle. This man was Joseph Michael Simpson, who was recently out of jail for another murder. But Krystal didn't know this. All she knew was that some guy was offering her free drugs. In an interview, her mother said that her daughter always lived on the wild side and was involved with adult things since she was 15. But her daughter was always smiling, so she welcomed her with open arms. But she never would have thought that her daughter would come to so much harm. The two drove off to a secluded spot, and you can guess what happens next. Simpson must have scared her somehow because she ran out of the vehicle wearing nothing but her socks. Simpson chased her. She tripped on a wire, puncturing her foot, creating holes in her socks and matched evidence found at the scene. Perhaps Krystal gave up when Simpson caught her. She must have convinced him to let her take off her socks, which she left on the rocks. He must have taken her by surprise when he started bashing her face, because she didn't go down without a fight. This happened in Utah. Simpson's crime didn't stop there, and he'd face more punishment in Utah before moving to Florida to live with his mother. Then, Chief Potter and his associates cracked the cold case and brought closure for the deceased girl and her family. The murder happened in 1995. The trial happened in 2013. Joseph Michael Simpson was sent to life, and he is still in jail and will be until he rots. Personally, I think him being able to leech off tax dollars in a jail cell doesn't seem as bad as the hell that girl went through. But because we all love happy endings, let's just say that justice was served.